Well, guys, I hope you're enjoying the conference. So the last presentation of the last day, right? So we're the last of the last. Actually, I prepared for a 50 minutes presentation, but we only got 30 minutes, but it's fine. I'm going to be a little bit fast. Actually, I removed all the slides. We only have like 3 or 4 slides. And then we're going to see a kind of live presentation on PMM, the version that we have now. And then I'll talk to you what we're expecting for the new versions. Do you know what is funny? I was having a presentation on last year in London, and then my wife sent me a message, and I bought new shoes, and was just there. And the crowd, well, could you see the picture of the shoes? Well, whatever, let's see. Well, by the way, I'm Charlie Batista. I'm a senior engineer from Percona. I mainly work with MySQL and PostgreSQL. So I've been working for a couple of years already with development and database. Actually, we started working with driver developers, so a few years ago. And well, now we are here working with database, right? It's amazing with technology. What we're going to talk today is, okay. We're talking about PMM, actually, and what is PMM? Well, PMM is an open source and troubleshooting tool that was developed by Percona. Actually, what did you do? We didn't develop all the tools from the scratch. We went to the market and trying to find, okay, what do we have that is really good to work with monitoring? So we found some trends, and then we picked a few of them. Prometheus for a database, and Grafana for the web interface. So Prometheus is a time series database. So its main job, actually its only job, is to work with time series. So, and it's really fast. It's getting better. Like the version 2.0, they improved a lot of stuff, especially on the storage. So it's getting really better and better every day. And it's able to monitor not only Postgres, but also MongoDB and MySQL. So actually, we can add a lot of more to Prometheus. At my home, as I told you, I start with driver developers. So I still play with some microcontrollers, and you know, when we have nothing to do, we try to destroy the house, right? So I basically have some sensors at my home that to collect the temperature, humidity, and when we are at home, and I send all of them for Prometheus. So then I have really nice information on how the things are doing, and especially because like I'm living in Shanghai, just right in the corner, so and they have a little bit problem with pollution, you know. And it's nice to know how the index are going and if we're getting healthier or not, if we need some extra medicines. Now that we know what is Prometheus, I think it's not. The battery is probably going on. Well, that was, yeah. Now that we know what is Prometheus is, Prometheus can collect data for on-premise database and also for RDS database. So it's quite simple to tell the Prometheus how it's gonna collect the information. When we are using a database that we have limited access, like for instance RDS, or is not fully supported for the platform that we're gonna see in a few seconds, like Windows platform, we can use the Grafana and Prometheus to collect the information from the database. Instead of use the plugin that Prometheus use to collect the information and send that we call the exporters, we're going to use the Prometheus itself to, from time to time, to connect to the database and collect that information. Well, it's not the best way. It's not the most optimized way, but it's the way that we can use, right? Because we do not have that much access to the database. And when we talk about RDS, we can go to the Prometheus as well. and edge or instances or remote instances for on PMM. And also when we're using Windows, and there is a remote instance, the process is really similar. It's mainly the same. So we go to the Grafana primitives, and we just add a remote database. But this is what we are not here to talk about, right? We are here to talk about how the PMM really works and what we really can do with PMM. This is the main interface. When we just go to the PMM and we log, that's the main interface that we have. So as we can see here, we have a lot of options here because, as I told you, we can monitor many databases. So we have MySQL, MongoDB, and the one that we're interested now, that PostgreSQL. So if we go to, I think the resolution is not good, right? Can you see, guys? Okay. So if we go here to the PostgreSQL, we're going to see there is nothing here. Oops. Oops, yeah, no data points. Actually, the problem is because we didn't select our host. I'm just telling the primitives, okay, I want to see the PostgreSQL metrics, but for which database? Well, I want to see from the master. Bit better, right? So it's still working in progress. So we are adding more and more metrics from the PMM. And on the PMM 2.0, we're going to have the query analytics that I'm going to show you later with a demo from MySQL. In my opinion, it's one of the most amazing thing that we have on PMM. So what is the PMM for? The PMM is here to help us troubleshooting the database problems, right? So, but how does it can help? Well, you can tell me, well, Charlie, you know, I'm seeing here 5 minutes resolution. Well, this information I can get with other applications, for instance, Zabbix, right? We can get 5 minutes resolution on Zabbix. And one amazing thing that we have when using primitives is because we can get 1 second resolution data points. And if we think about like that we have 1 second resolution information from the database, see how we get now the information is we get a lot of more information here. It's more complicated to lose a problem when it happens on the database. So the resolution time for troubleshooting is really, really important. Because if we are working with 5 minutes resolution time, whatever happens in 2.5 minutes, we're going to lose, right? And we are working with database. We expect that our queries runs in microseconds, milliseconds, not in seconds or minutes. And this is one of the biggest point that we have with PMM and primitives. But what do we have? Well, we have here active connections. That's fine. We have the tuples. Well, that's also fine. But they are not my favorite ones. My favorite ones, let's start from the information that is not even from the database. That is from my operational system. Well, yeah, here, yeah, system summary, yeah. Okay. I really love this information, you know, because usually when you have a problem inside of the database, they are translated for something inside of the operational system. So we either have CPU-bound issues, I/O-bound issues, or CPU and I/O-bound issues. Really rare, we have some network issues, but it can also happen. So in my case here, guys, you can tell what is my workload is more CPU or more I/O bound. We can see that my disk doesn't really do that much stuff, right? It looks like CPU bound, right? So, but when it usually happens for the database to be CPU bound? What is the case that usually happens? Well, can be some query, but it's more common when we have tons of connections going to the database every second, right? Because remember, we need to open either for the database that work with a thread, or database that work with process like Postgre, we need to open one process for each connection there. So it takes CPU time. And if we have, in my case here, I have 32 CPUs, but I have 1,000 connections. If I have 1,000 connections open to the database, well, I don't have that many CPUs. So then we need to do the context switch, right? The operational system will now intervene and do the context switch. So you know, this guy here gonna have some milliseconds and another one. And every time that the CPU does a context switch, it needs to go inside its operators and download it, let's say, to the memory, main memory, and then upload all the information inside of the CPU again. So it's waste of CPU time. And we can see here. And if we go up there from the metrics from the database, well, I think I just lost my connection. Well, I have no database here. Okay. It's still loading. Yeah, let me try to switch to another connection. Wi-Fi? Yeah. Okay, let's switch to another one. You have the password?
No. Mobile Wi-Fi, shall I give it?
Yeah. If you have. Which one?
SMG950.
This is the name?
This one, last one.
Okay.
And FNLF. I'll type it.
So while we wait for the Wi-Fi, what we're going to see here is the translation from what we saw on the operational system. So I expect to see peaks of a huge number of connections here that is translating for that context switch that I told you guys. So it's a very important thing that we need to do, like, especially when we are working with applications that do not have connection pool. So usually the developers, they think the connection is for free. So, okay, I have a lot of memory on the database, you know? And that doesn't look nice. Anyways, so the guys, oh, we have 1 terabyte memory on the database, man. How is not possible that we can hold 1,000 connections and you only have 32 CPUs? You know? Well, that's why when you go for the documentation or for the best practice, try to do as max 2 times as the number of CPU you have for the max connections. Yeah, can you get there? Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, can be. So it will have the context is a really big issue. So another problem that we have it's really common is the problem with I/O. So that it's really easy to see here when we have the problem with I/O. Yeah, this one. Okay, great. We have it back. System summaries. Okay. Yeah. So we don't have that much workload here. But if we see here, we have a saturation per core. So that will also be translated there. Let's go for the graphs. Yeah. So that will be translated here. So if we see here that we're going to see the peaks of transactions that we have. And as I told you guys, they just told me that if I only have 5 minutes. One of the best things that I like here on PMM that is coming to Postgres on PMM 2.0, I'm going to show you here. Yeah. Is this guy here. I love this feature. Yeah, I need to change here because they don't have. Yeah, okay, it can be this one. Yeah. Here, what we have here. We basically have here the slow log. So it will show you the activity of your database, what are the slow log, what your database is doing. But not only that. So it will give us insights of the queries itself. So as we can see here, the main activity that we have, besides the begin and the show global starts for this database, it has those selects here. Yeah, and if we go to that select, if you click here inside of that select, it's going to tell us how many, the counts for the selects, how many selects we have per second, the rating of this we have per second. It's going to give us the fingerprint of the select. What is the fingerprint? It's just the summary of the select without the parameters. And we also give an example and an explain. So if you go here, if you see that something is going really wrong and you need to call your developer for, hey man, you know, your application is destroying my database, and they see this select here on top of the worst ones. You send the select, oh, I'm going to send you here on the Slack an example of the select. No, mate, I'm going to send you the link. You can go to the link. You know, can you see the example there? Can you see the explain? Let's get one select that has a nice explain here. Yeah. Let's go for a different host. Okay. Yeah, those are all tests. Oh, at least this one has something here. So, yeah. And yeah, you're going to give the guy the example. See, go to the explain. Well, this query is using the primary key. It's not a funny one. But yeah, you can get, see, you are doing a full table scan, man. Can you please use an index? Or see the table, the column that you're using, it has an index, but, well, the index is an integer, and you're sending a varchar. You know, you're making the database to avoid the index. And because we know sometimes the developers, they don't know that it can happen. And it's a really nice tool, really, really helpful, because then we can get all the main queries there. And we can see here, we don't need to go to the database and run the explan. You know, you have everything here. And usually the developer, they don't have access to the database. Well, sure.
This is what you're going to have for Postgres also, right?
Yeah, it's from Postgres on 2.0 or PMM 2.0. Yeah, it's on beta right now, so actually you can already download and test. I would appreciate if you download and test, and if
So in the 2.0 beta, you already have Quan for Postgres?
yes, yeah.
But that's going to be released a bit later.
Well, actually, this version already has Postgres already but we don't have the query, the KOA yet on this version because this is 1.75. So we do have metrics. You can collect some metrics from Postgres already. No, but not the query analyze yet. This one going to be released on 2.0. And yeah, it's already on beta, so you can download from the internet.
Another question I have is, if you just go back and
Sure.
on top, if I want to see a different timeline,
Yes.
right now you have.
Oh, yeah. You want to see it here, right?
So if we go back,
Mm-hmm.
back in time,
Yes.
you have the same thing in Quan, right? Or is it just
No, it will adjust. It will change.
okay, fine.
It will change.
So if you go to the explain plan of one of the queries here,
Mm-hmm. Just
so
pick
you
one.
are storing the explain plan also for every query every time, or
Well, on this case, we are not storing actually to run the experiment.
okay. No, I mean what I mean to say is like one particular query, let's say
Uh-huh.
is going bad, or so I want to go back and see what it was a few days ago.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah. Well, no, you won't get the explain from that point in time. No, you're going to get your explain now. Yeah, I got your question. Yeah, well, that's an amazing feature, you know. I definitely going to take notes of this one.
See, in Postgres, how is storing the explain plan? Are you doing a analyze or an analyze explain?
No, it's analyze. Yeah, it's explain. You cannot do analyze explain because otherwise you're going to run the query. Yes. Yeah. Just explain. You cannot run an analyze explain, otherwise you're going to run the query. If you have a delete here.
Right. So when you're doing analyze
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting the data in some format, maybe let's say for example in JSON,
Okay.
can you not store it there in? See, the problem with that is every time for each SQL that's running in the database, we have to keep running explain for every
Yeah.
fetch, right? So instead, in the future, not 2.0, right? Later, we got some extensions in place that kind of help us store the execution plans as well. Similar to pgstat statements like pgquery state, there are some extensions. Eventually, we may get there where we could see a list of all the execution plans, but it's not really suggested to store the execution plan at each, for each
Yeah.
query, right?
Yeah, that's a big issue. So because you're gonna add a really huge extra load to the database.
So which extension are you planning to use to? So today we use pgstat
Stats,
statements effectively, yeah, for query
Yep.
analytics, and there are some other extensions that we use.
And yes, it's an amazing, and as I said, you guys, so you can share this information if you're a developer, you know. Usually, the developer doesn't have access to the production database. Actually, they shouldn't have, right? So then you send them the link, and they can have all the information that the DBA will have, the information, then they can optimize it.
One other thing, I'm not sure if it's included here or but in future version, like if you go back and look at the previous one, which was showing ICQ.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can just click on that, and on the side it gives us the queries at which were running at that time. Yeah. Instead of coming back to the second screen.
We have that planned on 2.0 as well. So on 2.0, you're gonna have a panel here that you can get extra information, like even for the database. You know, I want to filter only this database or this. So that's gonna be even more information on that.
Right. I mean, what I mean is like you zoom in there.
Uh huh.
And let's say on the
Yeah, no. It's not yet on this first version, and I put 2.0, but it's also planned. I know what you mean. So you get a peak of CPUs, and then it's going to get you the most executed, the one that's contributed for that one. Yeah. Well, yeah, as far as we know, no, but yeah, it definitely depends on how the market goes, you know. Hmm. Yeah, PG Bouncer, yeah, probably, yeah. PG Bouncer is a great candidate because we've seen a lot of deployment with PG Bouncer. Yeah, yeah, we've seen a lot of deployers with PG Bouncer. It's not that PG pool we don't have that many, but it's just the proportion that we've seen. But everything can happen, the market can change, the people can, we never know. Sorry? Not yet, not yet, yeah, yeah. 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 Well, we are already running out of the time, guys. Well, it depends on the bugs goes. We are releasing the beta now. Well, we are asking our customers and the community to download and test and report bugs. You know, and it actually depends on the QA team, mostly, because it's mostly done. All the features that we want to have, they are there, but it's still we have some bugs that we need to fix, and maybe most probably some that will come on the way. Um, yeah. Yeah, we can work around the resolution on the plugin that collect the data. You can do that. Yeah. No, it's not the sniffer.
Snapshotting of the
Yeah,
PD stat statements and
yeah,
PD stat activity.
yeah. Mainly the vills. It's not a sniffer. A sniffer in the future that would be great because you're gonna reduce a lot of the yeah, they do. Yeah, but the problem is when you have SSL connections to the database. So then, yeah, they're encrypted, so you are blocked. So then you need a way to work around that. Yeah, but the Vivid Cortex, they mainly, when we do not have SSL, they use a sniffer for MySQL. Yeah.
And so these agents are going to be running locally on the machine?
Local, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, you don't have the metrics for the OS itself. It's the same as RDS, you know. You can have the remote connection as I showed here quickly, but then you lose a lot of metrics.
Yeah, I'm curious about phone because, how much load does it put on the machine? How many agents do you run to collect the phone information? These things going to be interesting. So right now you're running phone on MySQL, right?
Yes. Yeah, the extra load is negligible. Yeah. It definitely has, everything that you add, even a sniffer, you're definitely going to have something on the load. But the gain that you have, yeah, it's much higher than the pressure that you put on the database. To Postgres, yes. Yeah, we do plan. We do plan. We are working this. It takes some time because right now we mainly have one developer because all of those tools are built in Perl. You know, it's not that easy to find Perl developers on the market. Even though like I've worked with Perl for a long time ago, but like I mainly help you with bugs. That's all.
Have you contributed patches before to Feedstock that haven't been merged? And I'm curious if you guys would be interested in.
Of course, yeah,
for
yeah,
Postgres.
yeah. Well, we are open for the community. You know, as many people you can help, we are always appreciate the help. Definitely. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, guys.